Hi there. Today we're trying a classic South African wine. I've got some Kaapzicht Pinotage here. Pinotage, this is from Stellenbosch. This is the family's estate wine from Kaapzicht. I mean, Stellenbosch really is the home of Pinotage. That was where it was developed by Itzhak Perrault. This is a farm that's been the Steytler family for 4 generations have cultivated since the 1940s. So they have some lovely mature. These are 20-year-old bush vines. The fruit comes off this for. So you've got nice intense fruit. And Stellenbosch, quite a place whose climate is quite well suited to growing Pinotage, because Pinotage doesn't like to get too hot while it's ripening. Otherwise, it gets a really thick skin and gets some off flavours. So in Stellenbosch, where you are, you get winds coming up from the cool Southern Ocean. There's a wind called the Cape Doctor that cools the climate there and can help you grow in what would otherwise be a very warm area. Can help you grow varieties that prefer cooler sites, like Pinotage. Pinotage as a variety got sort of probably quite a bad deal in the 80s when demand was high and they were overproducing and they didn't really know how to make the wine. So more recently people have come to sort of tame its quite aggressive bitter flavours by picking it slightly less ripe, avoiding too much heat just at the end of harvest, and fermenting it cooler and using a bit of new oak with it. So we see a lot of this with this wine, which also has 15% of Cabernet Sauvignon blended in it, but otherwise it's Pinotage. It gets, I think, 18 months in, 1/3 of it gets 18 months in new French oak, presumably the other 2/3 in older oak, aging just to smooth it out and add a little bit of vanilla roundness to it. So let's see what we've got here in terms of this wine. In terms of its colour, I think it's a wonderful, bright, vibrant ruby red. There's a nice There's a nice intensity to the colour, but it's not particularly deep. I can see through it, but the colour holds well to the rim, and there's a fair amount of alcohol there. I can see legs running down the glass. I don't know if you can see that in the video, but I mean the wine is labelled as 14% alcohol. The text sheet actually says 14.2, but you can have a little variance legally on a label within those limits, so that's not a problem. I've got it in a nice big glass because I think one of the nicest attributes about Pinotage is its aroma. It can have some fantastic juicy red fruit aromas. So to give yourself room to swirl as you would with a Pinot Noir, which is one of its parents, of course, it's worth doing that. And yes, breathing in the aromas there's a lovely, rich, juicy, jammy red cherry aroma there, and behind that there's a more developed red plum to prune, a more mature pruny note, moving over to sort of meaty note, bloody meat notes, and then perhaps even a little bit of peppery spice just at the end there. So to taste it, the wine's very structured. Its tannins are fine, but they're quite drying. So you get the juicy fruit up front, but then there's a bitterness and really quite nice, sharp, fresh acidity coming in there. You don't get the quite objectionable rusty nail notes you get if it's fermented too hot and that sort of thing. But there's a real bite there, and I mean the producers suggest that this is best with barbecued foods. They suggest springbok or ostrich actually. So big flavoured meats, and this would be a lovely counter to them. It's quite full, medium to full bodied. It's rich, it's juicy. I'm salivating nicely there. The flavours are lasting well. It's concentrated. If you want those tannins to smooth out, I mean, this is a wine that quite happily lasts another 5 years at least. But actually, to go up against sort of structured and big flavoured foods, I think this is drinking really nicely now. There is a sort of a freshness to the finish and a spiciness on the finish that lasts quite nicely. So yes, thank you for watching. That's Kaapzicht Pinotage from Stellenbosch. Bye, everybody.